wouldn't let us drive.
What are you talking about?
I can
Second day of school, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I can just remember the story. We would, Andy and I go sleep when we were sleeping at your house, and we'd make you come in and tell us some stories about you all.
Wild tales.
Wild tales.
Well, it was a true one. We all ended up in the pipe.
I'll tell them one about Hinkle running the car over the bank and Calvert never did know it.
Calvert?
I'm going to tell this one on her. Never did
I
tell
tell about the horse and buggy day one time, one happened to me, so I'm gonna tell about that one now.
Yeah, wait a minute. She been on fresh grass.
Yeah. Oh, we had
Well,
one in
I've
our
heard that
family
one.
like that.
Wait, I haven't heard that one. What are you
She
talking
was all
about?
dressed up in her white dress and Uncle Kurt took her to church. In about a half an hour, they came back and the old horse had been out on grass. And as she went through the house, the sisters all said, "What's the matter?"
But the
And
bathroom
Billy,
all over.
when she said, "Can't you look at it and see?" There was green grass all over. So the horse
It ferments.
turned loose on. And Uncle Kurt went on the one that got, you know, out the
All
right, we're gonna do it one at a time.
All that wants to come up the road here, what, I didn't even get to come town, went by.
They had to go back from church. They were on the way to church.
What are you doing? May we ask? Are you gonna start, or are we just playing?
Well, just keep talking, that's all right.
He's monitoring.
Hey, he's recording all over the
Well, this is one
I was.
thing.
I just want to go here back to grandmother barn and chewing.
Conversation.
Each other's chewing gum.
That's
Right
right.
about her barn, her neighbor's chewing gum.
When you go back, they say, well, who's that bud? You say, I don't know.
Indians from
We
up
used to
in
chew each other's gum all the time. One at a
Hillbillies
time.
from Kentucky.
That's okay, you can just chatter all you want.
The little girl got ready to go home, her mother called her to come home, she said, "I want my chewing gum back." She said, "You're not gonna get it back." The girl got to fighting her and she got a rock and rocked her home. And kept her chewing gum.
Oh, that's right. I remember that story.
You used to always tell it again.
Tell it again.
Okay, why don't we start over here and just, Sonny, why don't you just say your name and maybe when you were born, and just your family.
And who your mother and father.
That's right, who are your mother and father?
Born 1898.
Okay, just a second till I misfocus on you. Okay, do it again.
Give your name.
Name
Born
first.
1898. Calvert C. Hewlett. Mother, Annice Clark Hewlett. Father, Calvert Owen Hewlett. All born in Williamstown, Kentucky.
Uh-huh.
Hardware merchant all my life.
Yeah?
Jenny kissed me as we met, jumping from the chair she sat in. Time, you thief, who love to get sweets into your list, put that in. Say I'm weary, say I'm sad, say that health and wealth have missed me. Say I'm growing old, but add, Jenny, kiss me.
And what is that?
Who's Jenny? That's what I want to know.
Or is that from you?
That's the poem.
Yeah, but who wrote it?
Uh-oh.
You don't even know that's Joker's Wild. That's got it, right? You lose the money.
Are you still in the business, Calvin?
Sure, yes. Still there, going strong.
How many years?
60 years.
16 years.
You change any of those years, Calvin?
Change?
Yeah, he's gotten older.
Oh, yes. We've changed from horse and buggy age to automobile and airplanes. We still have to sell harness, stoves,
Shovel,
farm supplies,
prices,
housewares.
prices tripled.
Prices have gone up. We're living in an inflated age.
Wasn't inflation before?
No, we've been through depressions, but this is decidedly the worst inflation.
No fun for me to hear that.
And you were married when?
Married in 1923.
And introduce your wife.
Yeah.
The lady here is the wife. One daughter, 3 grandchildren.
Now,
Alright.
does he have a good story from?
No.
You got a story you want to relate now, Calvert?
No, I don't believe I have anything right on my tongue at this time.
Nothing even from the Depression?
Oh, well, you're bound to learn something in that length of time. but you have to kind of give and take and be satisfied with the way things have gone. You can't change them too much after so long a time. You have to live with them. But it's been a nice journey.
Good. And your wife is?
Hazel Hewlett, here she is.
Hazel Pettit Hewlett.
Fine cook and housekeeper.
Say once upon a time.
Once upon a time. You're supposed to start that with once upon a time.
Start that one now.
Oh, so, and your maiden name was?
Pettit.
Uh-huh.
And your parents' name?
My mother was a Conrad. Harry's middle name is Conrad, that's where I got it.
Harry is.
That's our little baby brother.
How many people were in your family?
What'd you say?
How many people were in your family?
Six children. Four girls and 2 boys.
And how about your mother's family?
There was 8 girls, 9 girls and 1 boy. In my mother's family.
9?
2 of them are still living. Most of them live to be 90 years old. Have one at 91 now. My mother lived to be 90. Had a cousin lived to be 90. 2 or 3 cousins lived to be 90.
How old do you want to live to be?
I don't want to live to be that long.
You don't?
I won't be able to walk.
Maybe. When were you born?
1904. That makes me 75 coming next month.
And Holden.
Slipper.
You didn't have 8, 9 children?
No, just stopped with 1.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, times were harder.
Oh.
Didn't have room for them.
And see.
My grandmother had a big house.
What's changed the most since then, would you say?
You're supposed to say I have.
You mean in my life? What changed?
Price of gas.
From a poor little country girl to a town girl.
Williamstown.
What's it?
Hot streets. I couldn't roller skate, but I could ice skate. You know why?
What can teach you?
That's right.
Came to town too late.
Ask her about her tennis.
Well, but what's a country girl, first of all? Because I don't know what that means.
Oh, you live in the country, you go after the cows at milking time. If you step in a cow pile, you have to wash it all off before you go to school in the morning. And what I did, I had a new pair of tennis shoes once, snow white. And I got out to open the gate and stepped in a great big cow pile and had to run to the house and wash the shoes off. And they were always kind of green. Always had a green shoe.
Had a green cat.
Always had a green cat. Now that's a country girl for you. And your grandmother used to deliver her mother's butter that she'd make 1 pound a week to 2 or 3 customers in Dry Ridge. Once she was in horse and buggy going across the railroad track. She didn't see the train, but the old horse did, and turned her head, and that's all kept her from going on the track. That's what she used to tell. I never heard of it. I always heard it.
Kept her from getting, and she just turned her head, and the
That's
train
what you
just
came
left
home and
like
told
that.
anyway.
That
You've
was,
forgotten it?
That's too close for comfort, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
that's
But
what
you
Howard,
came home
when
and told.
Howard used to drive up Williamstown, lean at Caldwell. He would come home one night, he'd go to sleep, and old Maria to bring him home. He said he'd come to the Hogan Crossing up there, and old Maria standing there with her head turning the freight train just to fly it. Going by and she was up against the cars.
Heard
Just
that
standing
one.
up
And
against the
then
track.
it woke up.
Yeah, it woke him up.
Would you like to hear one about my daddy?
Sure.
He had a 1912 Ford. We were coming from Williamstown one Saturday, and a freight train was passing us, and he said, I'm going to beat that to the crossing. And Cecil began to scream and get down in the bottom of the automobile and beg him to stop. He's going to beat it across the crossing.
And the conductor,
The
He
conductor,
waved to the engineer, wasn't he?
engineer was waiting for him to go back, stop.
Dad waved back at him.
Did he beat
Way
it?
back to him.
Did he beat it?
Yeah, crossed it.
no,
Cecil, no, he didn't.
stopped.
He stopped, but Cecil was down in the bottom of it.
And then he said, don't tell your mammy.
You heard that, don't tell you,
Now,
Mammy.
see, but then we say, kid
You
down,
you gotta be on the
wheels
bottom.
trying
You
to
were
get
with
a
me.
train, we
You
say,
said on
oh,
the
boy,
bottom,
you
too.
son.
That's not as good as the one when it's coming from the fair in the Model T Ford.
This is the best one on you, Daddy.
Over in Frankfurt, and they run over a man, and instead of stopping and getting out, he backed up over him again. He collided underneath, he run over him one, then backed up, run over
To
him.
see if he's hurt, run over.
Court too, they took him to court.
Yeah.
We'll be sure he done a good job,
Yeah,
anyway.
did you know this, Cecil? Yeah, run over him
Yeah,
twice.
back over him. Barbie tells that one.
Now, who did this?
My grandpa, my daddy, in a 1912 Ford.
Papa did that?
Your great dad.
Great granddaddy.
Really?
Don't you remember Tom?
Oh,
Daddy?
sure.
Well, that's who they're talking about.
Born on your birthday.
Papa.
Is that right?
Born on his birthday, and he was kind of mad because they didn't name you Tom. He really was insulted.
Wasn't this the guy who had his hair, kept his hair black for a long, long time?
That was grandpa David. That must have been the Harris Davidson.
That was Paul David.
Oh, that was Pa Davidson, okay.
No, Dad never did.
Papa was the one that used to be so thin, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Short,
real
and he used to sit on the step, on the porch,
And
and
he'd
just sit.
have a hat on, the air, he didn't like the air on his head, and he'd go in the house and eat with his hat on.
Let's tell him the one about the Harold, the night he was born. We all came downstairs and Harold took the call that night.
I
You
took
took
him
the
down.
Oh, I didn't remember it much. I
And I
wasn't there.
talked to him and said, tell him he's a same old barrel.
No,
He
no.
says he's
No.
a stem
It
winder.
was
Stem
still one.
Winder.
Stem
I
line.
remember that
Papa
night
was
that
the
we were
operator said, well, what
All was
does that mean? And he said, well, it wasn't an open face, but it was stem winder. And she said, well, what that mean? And he said, the open face was a girl and the stem winder was a boy.
We'd set up all night almost waiting for him to be born. We finally give up and we went to bed. And,
Well, why did you wait up so long?
oh, we wanted to see what you was gonna turn out to be.
Oh,
You know, well, they go and they give them back.
You
And
didn't
then
know
we
the
was
boy.
waiting for Harold to call and Harold called
Why
that
is the
night.
stem winder? I don't understand. What is that? What is it?
Don't you dare ever have my husband for a patient.
That's not the best one yet.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And another time they call the girl double barrel
A double barrel.
instead of single barrel.
That's a Dolly Parton, you know.
Oh, yes. Oh, gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry.
I see. So, where were you married, Haley?
In Latonia, Kentucky. We were going to be married that afternoon, and a big rain came up,
Made over, wasn't we, that bad?
and we couldn't get across the creek. We'd had to turn around and come back, go another road. And I said, I had a notion of turn around and going home. We had to go round and round, and when we got to Latonia, we couldn't find the preacher. I didn't know where he lived. Started out without his address, and we finally went in, sent Moody Crouch in to look in the telephone director, and I think he found his street number. And then I said, Moody, you're not going to come in and watch us get married. And they didn't have anybody to be a witness, so Moody had to come in and be the witness for us. And the preacher says, now the races are going on, and you all better call over to the hotel and get your room, or you won't be able to get one. So Calvert called, and we got a room at the Gibson Hotel. And the next day, he wanted to see the Reds play. So we went out to the hot red field, and we didn't have any seats. And Calvert didn't want me to sit in the sun, so he gave a little boy $10 to get us 2 seats, and he hasn't seen the little boy since. That's a joke on him on his wedding trip.
That's the first mistake I made after I was married.
He'd already made one mistake when getting
That's the second one you
That was
made.
the second mistake.
That's your second mistake.
How much did the honeymoon suite cost you?
About $3 a night, I bet.
I don't know, but they gave us double beds. I mean, single beds, we had single beds. That's the
The
truth.
old Gibson Hotel, just recently tore it down.
Did they turn it down?
Yes, yes.
Twin bed, one good as new.
Okay, Mr. Roby, how about your vital statistics there?
When were you born?
Born in Scott County, September 10th, 1901. So it makes me get along up with a whole lot of the old folks.
And what were your parents' names?
Mother was named Nancy Penn, and father was Arthur Roby. So I was raised on a farm until I was 16 years old. Came to Georgetown and been there ever since.
And started in a grocery store when you're 16 years
Started
old.
the grocery store when I was 16 years old, been there 28 years. Lived there and went across the street to the farm store and was in there 26 years. So I've been dealt with the public for 54 years. Now I've been retarded for 10 years.
Retarded. You'd had a speedometer on, wonder how many miles you run. You and Calvert. Y'all should have had a speedometer on you.
That makes you feel even
I
older.
could say I walk more than I don't about the mail carriers doing a lot of walking around. They went to used to do a lot of walking, but they didn't walk as much as I did, I'm sure.
That was been over.
When was that? When did you do a lot of walking?
Just in the store.
Just in the store, you mean?
That's what they.
Yeah, just waiting on people back and forth. I bet Calvert's been around the world half a dozen
I walk
times.
more than these mail carriers are supposed to walk so much back in those days. But so I've been living here now for 10 years. So
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had a brother and 2 sisters.
One sister living.
One sister living.
What was the day like, would you say, typical day in the store?
Which one of them?
What time did you, which one did you like the best?
Well, I like both of them. I was crazy about the grocery store, and I've been there 28 years, and I didn't realize it was getting next to me so much until the last few years of it, last year or two of it, and I had a chance to sell out, and I sold out. I was glad to get out. I was putting in, what I started out is I'd open up at 5 o'clock in the morning and stay till 8 at night at first, and then I got to cut out open at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd stay till 8 at night, and then I'd close the store at 8, but then I had my days and minutes due up to about 10 o'clock before I'd get away.
Had long days.
And it was long days.
How much did you usually take in on your average day?
I'd sell nickel with that once in a while.
Pretty much.
Those days. Then I sold, after I sold that out, and went down to the farm store, but it was quite a bit different down there because it didn't have long hours.
And not near as much feed.
That's right.
Here's much what?
To eat.
Yeah.
Anytime it come around with a new piece of candy or a new cookie, I had to try it out.
That's how you balance your cookie eating.
That's right. So it was down there. I was outside more than I was in. Because the first Gene was down there with me, and he was the inside man. I was the outside man. We sold John Deere farm machinery,
Combinets.
coal yard, and repair shop, and feed, and all that originally. And then we cut out the feed later on, but we and the automobile agency, and the John Deere agency, and the farms, and the repair shop, and the coal yard. So that was kept up until the very last. And, so then I had a chance to sell after that. So I'm glad now I don't have to go out there and open up every day.
I bet.
Anything interesting happened to you in the last 5 years, Dal?
Yeah.
Very much so.
What would you say?
This is it right here about it.
Married your grandmother.
When were you married?
When we did it?
74.
74.
And they ran off and got married.
Ran off and got married.
Didn't tell us so.
Ran off right across town.
Didn't tell us so.
So we've been married now since.
You married his grandmother.
Married your grandmother.
Married your grandma.
You weren't worried about it, huh? Getting married? How old were you when you got married?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, let's see, I'm 78 now and been married 5 years, so 73.
That didn't trouble you at all?
So what?
Tell her what you said, did
What prompted you?
Betty Joe and the pancakes.
That's right.
Betty Joe was the cause of it. Your mother was the cause of it. She suggested to have me over for dinner, supper sometime, or dinner. And she called me one afternoon about 5 o'clock. I might come over for eat some sausage and pancakes. So we had Weber's sausage. So ever since then, none but Weber's sausage would fill the bill. So I went over and eat supper and eat pancakes and sausage. And from there, he ended up over here.
And she
Very
was there.
happily.
Now he's doing all the sausage cooking.
Yeah, he's cooking the sausage in the
And
oven.
now she can't eat sausage.
You now you can't eat sausage? You say very happily, Cece, is that what you said? Is that a question?
That's a statement.
Yeah.
Was that a question? No, it isn't.
Now you gotta get to Cece.
Yeah.
You're not.
When were you born, Cece?
1901, December the 11th. And Dale just 3 months older than I am.
Oh.
Almost twins.
Now what's your full name, Cece?
Cecil Earl Pettit Harrison Lee. Oh,
That sounds like
She's
a
got a
king's
handful.
name. Prince of Wales had a name like that.
That's right.
Earl.
Story behind that long name, too, no doubt.
That's you.
And, are you thinking? Don't let me cut you off.
You had one child.
I had one child, and that was your mother.
Grandchildren?
Yeah.
Too many.
Got 4 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
Neat.
Boy.
You also stopped after one child then, huh?
It's contagious.
Times were hard, is it? Why was that, Cece?
Bashful.
I didn't have a husband, I left him.
Good enough reason.
Didn't have a husband, I left him.
Can't believe that. The 3 of them here, there's only 2 children, was there?
Yes, sir.
More husbands than children, really.
Yeah, had more husbands than children.
It's a way to do it.
And that's all I got to say.
Let husbands support you.
Ask Carrie.
But don't you
Well, now, who were your brothers and sisters?
For me,
Yeah, who were they?
who were they?
Yeah.
have their names?
Well, there were Shirley and Lily and Howard and me and Haiti and Harry.
That's what I do.
That's the way they were born?
That's the way.
Who
And
was
there's
the worst?
Howard living and Harry living and Haiti living and me living.
Pretty good statistic.
That's pretty good.
And that's all.
So you were the baby? No.
No,
Harry was a baby.
Harry was a
Yeah.
baby.
Oh, Hazel's
The baby.
younger than
there's
Cece.
2 and 3
I
years
was the
apart.
4th.
You were the 4th.
Some 2 and some.
And you haven't got a story to tell about the family that big.
No, that's all.
What was Christmas like after everybody had been born?
Oh, tell about it down.
What's a Christmas?
We put the cherry up with the shoebox.
But what did you do?
Looked over the chair ring.
How's Christmas?
Put our stockings up on the mantle and put a shoebox in a chair. No Santa Claus would fill them. Sometimes it would get cold.
Well, that second night, when we put that
Oh,
second
second,
night, it
yeah.
was cold in it.
Second night when we put our stockings up, we got
Get a corn cob and
Get
coal.
a great orange, though. You get a crop.
Orange in their sock,
yeah,
and
and
peanuts,
candy,
and a
a lot of
walnut,
raisins.
English walnuts.
Why did you put the shoebox down?
Put
For
the
the
candy.
candy.
Oh,
For the
the
spillover.
spillover.
For the spillover.
Oh,
Now, was cold bad?
And
Was
that's
that
all.
good?
That was,
Was cold bad or good to get?
Go to-
they were being
go to
selfish,
Harry.
you know.
But this was,
Oh,
in there.
so cold was bad.
Was
Cold was bad?
good or bad to get? Cold was always bad to get. Wouldn't that mean you were a bad girl?
No, they
Well,
just,
the next, that was,
See,
they
that's
wanted
what-
to be,
that's
like,
second
the
night.
second night, you know.
Oh.
Two
Oh.
nights of it, and that wasn't fair.
But we
So
did
they
that.
would
We
just put
we
coal
hung
in the
ours
box.
up second,
One
second
night.
night, be all right, we'd get something, cookies or get fruit or something. The third night, we hung up, we thought, sister and I thought we'd doing good, so we hang them up again. Next time it's filled with ashes.
Yeah, that's what we used to do in our house.
That's right.
Ashes
give
and
us a couple
coal.
lumps of coal.
Yeah, it was, we got filled, and coal would be all right, you just burn the coal. We fell out with ashes, so we,
Now go to Andy.
we
All right.
Uncle Harry.
Uncle Harry, how about your statistics here?
When
I
were
don't
you
know
born?
what I was born to hatch. No, I was born 1906, July the 20th, and I was the last of the litter. That was all of them.
And what's your full name?
Harry Conrad.
Oh, that's right.
Don't put too much weight on.
When my mother saw me, she said, "That's the last one." She gave up.
No more.
No more.
Oh, she just couldn't beat you, so that's
No.
couldn't top you.
When did you leave home?
Oh, when I was about 17.
1907.
17?
Yeah.
How come?
Oh, I got a job with the telephone company.
Climbing a pole.
Climbing poles, driving trucks, climbing poles.
So that's when, and you just left.
I just left.
Guess it's goodbye.
I couldn't wait to get home on weekends, whenever I could.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of the family.
Oh, yeah.
Get something to eat good. Country ham.
Get some good eating.
Something to
Where did you move after you got a job?
language.
Something to eat good.
Went to Cleveland, worked out of Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And how long were you with the telephone company?
During the Depression, you were
30
fired,
years.
wasn't it? Turned
Yeah,
off
I
during
worked
Depression.
for about 5 or 6 years, and then the Depression hit. I was laid off for 4 years. I came home and picked me up a gal here.
During Depression.
I wish
Pick
you
it up,
Depression.
yeah.
You know he hit me during the depression.
$15 a week.
What was $15 a week?
When I was married, I was making $15 a week.
About $60 a month. How much more did you want?
Yeah.
That's a whole lot then.
And I was paying $15 a month for a house. Five-room house. $15 a month.
How did you meet, you two meet?
What kind of rent did you pay?
$15 a month.
Oh.
Down on Charlotte Heights.
Well,
When you met, how did you two meet?
And they called you back to the
I thought you'd
telephone
tell
company.
him. I think he just forgot.
well, you better tell.
I have, or was it?
It's the night the judge was elected judge and you came
Oh,
in.
yeah. They was having a party down there.
Well, I forgot what, was it it wasn't the colonel, it was something like
No.
that.
Anyway, they're having a party and the judge, her brother was elected judge and having a party and I came in and Howard was already there, wasn't he? And they said, here comes another pettit. I came over to the table and sat down and
Judge asked you to sit down, even though he
Yeah.
didn't know who you were.
yeah. So, after that, Martha told the judge she wanted to, one of the pettit boys?
I don't know.
Yeah, I bet you do.
No.
What?
What was, you got told judge to,
Oh, and Howard called up, no, Harry called up. You called
Oh,
up, wanted to play
yeah.
cards with us.
I called up and wanted to come down for a date and she didn't know whether it was me or Howard. And she said, bring your brother along.
Want
She
to get
said,
the
yeah,
right one.
said, come on down, you and your brother both, bring your brother.
One to four hands.
So which
So
one
that-
did you really like better?
I thought it might have been Howard, you know.
Right.
No.
So I just said, bring your brother.
So we went together about 2 or 3 years. Got married in 34.
We had another girl that had brought some pearls for him.
Uh-oh,
Be
okay.
still.
He beat me up when he gets me home.
Who was that? Who was that? I haven't heard this story.
Gone to school
I've never
with her.
heard this story, but.
You mean Mary Allen?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Gave her some pearls from Japan.
Oh, yeah. When I was 11 years old. Wasn't it 11?
Oh, that was the A to B. You bought a dime
Oh.
10-cent bracelet for
Oh,
A to B,
yeah.
and it turned green before he got home with it. Got it at the dime
Great
store,
big wide bracelet down 10-cent
and it
store.
turned
just
green
turned
before he gave it to
green
her.
as it could be.
She probably didn't mind.
After A to B.
I never did give it to her, did I?
No, I don't think so.
Had to
She
turn
wanted
green.
one.
You were too embarrassed.
Turned green before you got home, baby.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
could
it
say it
was
was
Some very good gold.
Jade.
Oh, that's right, you could have said Jane. Green gold. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And you work for the phone company?
That's right.
Mostly in Ohio?
No.
All the United States.
All over the country.
And it had brakes.
Just about.
And it had
And what
brakes.
did you do for them?
Oh, drove truck and
Had a gang.
lineman and assistant foreman and clerk and foreman and then I got on the television towers, working on them and inspector and on the buildings and towers. That's when I went back in 36 when, after I was married. I went back and things picked up. And I went back at $31 a month. Boy, we really had her
A
made.
week.
But
At
they paid his
$31 a
board,
week.
paid his board.
And board and lodging.
Oh.
You agree for your wife too?
Yeah, that was
A lot of money.
That was a lot of money then.
But that's your first trailer that they didn't want you to have.
Oh, yeah, we lived in a little 17-foot trailer.
Company didn't like it.
Went all over the country.
Company didn't like that?
No, they thought it was a bunch of gypsies traveled in trailers. And,
Tell me about your
You
first
started
$20
trailer.
that we had.
oh, yeah, and we went on the first $20 we had, when we went back to the company, I told Martha, I said, I'm not going to carry it with me. I gave it to her, and she said, don't leave it here with me in the house. So we had a Bible in the room, and we had a room as before we got a trailer, and we hid it in the Bible.
Afraid to carry it.
$20. That's the first $20 we had since we got married.
They put it in the icebox now.
Yeah, keep it nice.
And the
Put it
ice
in the Bible.
It's in the Bible. Now I'll ask you one question. There were how many kids in your family? There were 8?
8,
6.
6.
6.
What was it like with all those? How did you have bathrooms? How many bathrooms?
Oh, we
Golly.
had a bathroom out in the backyard with one of these great big galvanized tubs.
And you just took turns? Somebody come and wake you up? What was the day like? Starting with the dark. Who got up first?
The oldest one, when we had Saturday afternoon, we start out.
Tub in the kitchen.
Shirley would take a bath first, and then Lily, all in the same water, and I had to end up in it.
Wasn't suds
Dirty
anymore.
water.
Wasn't suds anymore.
Dirty water.
Boy, it was good though.
And in the summer, how did you warm it in the summer?
Just set it out in the sun and let it get warm. In the winter time, we had a stove out there where Mom had the water she'd wash with. She'd put the water on
That
there.
was our bathhouse.
You see, they had an energy shortage
Warm
those
it up a
days.
little bit.
That's really the way we did take a bath in the tub.
Well, sure.
When was your first shower? Do you remember?
When you moved to town.
When we moved to Williamstown, when I was 11,
17.
we never had a shower then. We had a tub.
Yeah, we
We
did.
never had no.
We had a
Yes,
shower.
we did. Have a shower
With a curtain around it.
up over the tub with a curtain around it.
We lived elegant in town.
Elegant.
After we moved up there, the winter was cold and we couldn't even use our waterworks, did we? They all froze up.
Furnace either.
No.
Had great.
What did Pep
We schooled up there and we were in the country.
Was he just on the farm?
He just retired.
Every time he moved to
Yeah.
the farm.
When he was 49 years old.
He retired when he was 49?
Yeah.
Smart man.
Mom was 42. When we-
Yeah.
And how old was he? He lived to what? How old was
Dad lived 88 and Mom 90.
God.
Should have half his life retired then. He had a good time.
He did live half of his life retired.
Yeah.
Had a long time of it. Retired.
Yeah. You plan to do the same, Harry?
He did.
I've already had 20 years of it.
Tired of it yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple more years anyway.
Then you go back to work.
He is young to be retired, 18 years,
Yeah.
20 years.
He was
Yeah.
64.
I'd advise early retirement for everybody,
Yeah.
if you can hack it.
It's half it.
If you can hack it.
And as long as we're on you, how about your statistics there? Martha?
Oh, now listen. If they had, hey, they were millionaires to compare with mine.
Give your whole name.
Martha Pettit, no middle name, born 1913, November the 5th. Married, was soon be married 45 years. And,
How many brothers did you have?
oh, let's see, I had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Two brothers living, 2 sisters living. And,
Were you born here too?
I was born way down the country in,
Hey, Folsom.
down Folsom.
Close to the creek.
We took our baths in the creek, done our laundry in the creek, like on a rock, like the Mexicans,
You getting tired?
and done the whole bit.
Go like that.
Really?
It was a rough life. If you had cornbread and molasses, you were lucky.
And you didn't, you're saying?
Hmm?
And you didn't, you're saying? Have cornbread and molasses, I mean.
Yeah,
Lucky
if we
too.
did, we were lucky.
Tell them the time you ran out of food and wrote Gene a letter. That you're starving, you just wanna run off if it didn't bring
The
you
boys
some
then
food.
finally left, one but one went to town, so I wrote him a letter, one of my brothers in town,
Oh, Gene?
Gene, and I said to him, next week, if you come out, I'm gonna be in the poorhouse. Because we're out of food, and we're going to the poorhouse.
And there was a poorhouse then.
Yeah, there was, and that's a good story on Tom, the poorhouse. So in about 2 days, here he came and he had a little old Ford and he had so much food in it he couldn't even get in the car.
Did it really
So
bust
from
you
then
up?
on, we had no food problem. So I settled that,
That's
with,
right.
with a little letter. So that's about it.
And wasn't that depression times?
Kind
Huh?
of.
That's just regular times, wasn't it?
That was depression time. Yeah, about 29, 30.
Well, how did the Depression hit where you were? Because you think that you associate it with the cities, you don't think about it in terms of the country.
Things would have been better. They had the PWA, about that time.
Mhm.
Well, my dad he was a country gentleman. He wouldn't work. You know what I mean? One of those kinds.
Wore a white shirt all
Or
the
a
time.
white shirt and ever, but because he and his brothers and sisters, they all felt they were a little bit above the average clique because their parents had money, had been well off, and they were all raised up wealthy. When they all got time, they had been spent by the time they all, then none of them would work and couldn't work and didn't know nothing to do. All he did was wrote wheels and drawed up contracts for people and that sort of
He
thing.
went to revivals and led the
He
singing.
was a singer and he led all the revivals and he was a Sunday school superintendent and he did all these things, but he still
Wouldn't
didn't
work.
even work. He didn't work.
You had a big family to support
He
too.
had a big family and the kids all went to work and
Had 3 wives.
had 3 wives. They all died. When he married one and she died, had a baby and died. He married another and she had 2 babies and died. And then he married our mother and
And all 3 of them was 20 years old, I guess 21.
all 4 of them, all 3 of them were 20 years old.
Died funny.
And then my mother died when I was 2 years old. So all of them died real early.
What,
Well, how did you,
how did they die? Or did they
Oh, they all had TB then. Your mother told me that they all had TB back in those days.
Didn't take much to kill you then, no
You
pneumonia.
had no doctors,
Typhoid fever.
Pneumonia, didn't have any antibiotics.
My mother had a sister died
So
of
you
typhoid
got
fever.
anything, but TB was a
That's all.
killer.
Pneumonia
back
wiped out a
those-
lot of people in those days.
Typhoid fever did too, and many died of typhoid fever.
But I knew nothing about the family when I married Harry. Your mother did. She told me all about the family. Because she was born and raised over there. Not born and raised with them, but after she married,
Well, who
Really
brought you up? Did you?
just dad and there's all of us, we just lived. We survived and,
well, how did you eat?
that we had a little garden. We'd have a cow and we had hogs and
Had a
you
farm.
had
We
just
had
a
a
little
farm.
farm.
Oh, see.
You just survived. A little tobacco, and a little corn, But if had Dad went on PWA like everybody else down in Folsom, they paid you so much a day.
Yeah,
Well, he was too proud to go on it. We'd go hungry and all the neighbors had food.
well.
But no way would he go on
Take a
PWA.
job.
No, that was belittling to take any kind of aid.
So do you resent that now? when you think about it?
Well, yes, in a way, yes, I do.
Because he wasn't feeding you all, was
That's
he?
right, we could have had it a lot better had he,
Hadn't been for your uncle taking you all to city and getting you work.
that's right. Then we had an uncle and he started taking everybody to town, he took every one of us.
In or to help you find?
Took
Found
us all
jobs.
in and found jobs for everybody.
Martha, tell him about your relative who's on the TV broadcast.
Yeah, Tom Pettit, is NBC, he's, my second cousin, and he's,
Uncle George's grandson.
yeah, Uncle George's son. But the best one, I think I'll tell on Calvert because, Dad was one of these that wanted to have everything, but had nothing to buy it with, and so he wanted a new wagon. So he went up to Calvert's store, and this is Calvert's daddy. Calvert's daddy was a pushover for my dad because Dad always could buy on credit, honey. So what did Dad do? He'd go up and buy a big brand new wagon from Calvert's daddy, come home in it, I'll never forget it, I was little. And so, it was the greatest thing. And then after my dad died, and I was married, and my brothers went up and paid that bill off.
Leave that bill off, yes, sir. That
He
Thornhill wagon. Thornhill
That's
Way.
right, and he'd never paid him a dime.
I remember.
And-
Wonder how much it was.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know, it probably
$50 or
wasn't a lot,
$60.
I think so.
and they
something
paid
like
the
that.
bill off.
For Thornhill Wagon.
Probably a
Yeah.
fortune at that time.
Do you recall the bill?
James,
Yeah,
I remember
the-
something about it.
Well, your mother,
We run-
Howard, told me that they'd
Sure.
come in and paid it.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can.
So
move
that's
on.
it.
Now,
Well, see, well, does anybody else have anything they want to say? Just running around loose?
No.
Is there anything else they want to say?
Say goodnight, all.
Then I'll say goodnight unless somebody has something they think is important that happened, you know?
Night. Pretty good
I
program.
gotta tell you, my middle initial a while ago was A, and it stands for apt to say or do anything.
Well, what have you done?
Martha, don't you have a middle name at all?
No.
Why'd you make up
Oh,
one?
I had a bad
Yeah.
time with my name, see,
I
because
know people that don't have
they
middle names.
didn't record me when I was born because of, the back in them heels, the doctors never done anything. So he didn't know what they were gonna name me, so he just puts down Alice.
Oh, really?
This is right. So then when, during the war and everybody had to have a birth certificate for everything, Baywood was working for the health department and I said, Baywood, I've got to have my birth certificate for the telephone company wants to check on everybody for Harry to get in buildings, and everything. They checked on the wives too. No Martha, couldn't find it, so they finally run it down and found out that the doctor turned my name in as Alice.
Well, you
So,
should have adopted Martha Alice.
That's then, she went ahead and had to change then, and of course Ben Kinman, some of them older people, was older, and they signed the papers and got it changed. Then when I started getting Social Security, I ran into the same problem again. No middle name, they said I've gotta have it, so my middle name now is Pettit, Martha Pettit, and I'm on the driver's license, Social Security, and everything is Martha Pettit.
And now you know the reason why a man of 54 who lived across Old Bachelor for 30 years and more is looking glad and smiling for I've just come into town to get a pair of license to marry Mary Brown.
All right.
That's a good ending.
That's a good name.
That's a good ending. Now show us.
Oh, this is. I want my chair back.
Okay.
You mean that's me on there, or?
Uh-huh. Now, what's on your birth certificate, grandmother?
Emily Hall Davidson. It's born December 1903.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's 24th.
What, here in Georgetown?
No, in Owen County. Down at Beechwood in Owen County.
Uh-huh. And what were your parents' names?
Well, Sarah Gaines and Jim Hall. Jim Hall.
Okay.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
Oh, I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. 2 brothers and 1 sister. And a half brother and a half sister.
Ah. Were they from your mother's side or your father's
On
side,
my
the half
mother's
brother?
side. My mother had been married to a Gibson and he died. And there was a boy and a girl. And then she married my dad and we had 4 children.
Uh-huh. Oh, what were their names? Who were they? Because we don't know all
Well,
those guys.
John Hall and Julian and Lillian and myself. That's six children my mother had.
Uh-huh. And are they all still living?
No, my half brother, Alan, and my brother, John. They're dead.
Uh-huh. And you were married, right? When?
November 22nd, 1919. And your dad was born on July the 1st, 1921.
One child.
One child.
Why one child if you came from such a big family?
Oh, I don't know. One was enough.
One was a handful.
Then, of course, I had 4 grandchildren, which made up for all that.
They did.
One grandchild.
I see. And what happened to your brothers and sisters?
Oh,
Are they all still living around here?
the ones that are living are, one's in a sister in Lansing, Michigan, and one brother in Lawrenceburg. And let's see, who else do I have? That's all. And I had a sister in Owington.
Do you see them very much?
Yes, well, about every 3 or 4 months.
Uh-huh. What about on Granddaddy's side of the family?
Well, Granddaddy had two sisters. He had 3 sisters. One died when she was real little.
What was her name?
Her name was Bertha. And then he had, and he had another sister that died when she was a baby, I believe, Mamie. Then he had Carrie and Viola. Just one boy in the whole family.
Was he the oldest?
No, he wasn't the oldest. He was next to the youngest.
And do you know what his parents' names were? Do you remember?
Sam and Susan Davidson.
Really? And
Grandmother Davidson was Brumback. Susan Brumback, before she married. Married Granddad Davidson.
was that German, do you know?
No, I really don't know. I think Davidsons were Scotch. I think they came from Scotland, the Davidsons.
What about the Brumbachs?
Brumbacks. I don't know about them.
That's good German.
Sounds German somehow.
Could have been German.
And when did you move? Were you raised in the city or the country?
Well, I was raised in the country.
Ah.
My father had a little country store.
What was it called?
Oh, it was down at a little place called Hillseer. Well, when I was born down in Owen County, well, we had a little country store down there too. I started school down there.
Uh-huh.
1-room school. And then when we moved up Scott County, then I went 2-room school till I got to high school, and then I came to Georgetown, went to high school.
How did you meet Granddaddy?
Oh, he was staying down too. I don't remember just where I met him. Probably an ice cream supper or something like that.
What's an ice
That's what
cream
everybody
supper?
would- Oh, in the schools we had ice cream suppers. Everybody took ice cream and cake, and that was the thing that everybody got together. That was a lot of fun. That's all. You didn't have big dances and things then.
Did you dance? Did they have dances?
Oh, not then.
Not then?
Well, they had dances at the homes, you know. They didn't have dances for places.
Hmm. And so, did you have a long courtship?
Well, really, I don't remember. It wasn't that long. Maybe a year or 2, something like that. That's not long, isn't it?
It's a long time.
That's a long.
And did you ask him to marry you, or did he ask you to marry him?
I think he asked me to marry him.
I
It was been so long. It's been so long, I think I've forgotten.
Yeah, well, I bet you remember.
Anyway, he was 8 years older than I, so he was the boss always. You know,
I see.
I was so country girl.
And how old were you when you got married?
I don't like the month being 16.
You
16.
16.
You laughed a month
Yeah.
of being 16, so you were, I was thinking it was
How old are you?
25.
Let's see now,
Well, not quite a month. I mean, it was
10 years younger than you.
Yeah. I was married, well, yeah, 22nd of November, and his birthday is December.
I understand. And did you move away from home right away after that?
Sure.
Wow.
Housekeeping.
Where did you move?
Well, Granddad was working in Lexington at a warehouse and bookkeeping over there, so we went over there and lived. Had a tiny little apartment, you know. 2 rooms, I think, I don't know. And that's where we went housekeeping. Stayed over there in the winter. Then in the summertime, we went back to the farm, and he farmed with his, you know, with his dad.
Oh, so his dad was still on the farm.
Always on the farm.
Did he ever leave?
No.
Well, what?
Granddad Davidson never left the farm until he died and was taken away.
Well, what happened to that farm?
It's still there. And Leola has it.
Oh, that's that farm.
That's that same farm.
Well, it has been there a long time then.
Well, it was a larger farm, and he's still part of it.
Well, now, when did you change houses? Didn't you tell me one time you changed houses and you were real scared about being there alone one time? You remember what that was?
Oh, I was always scared when I was out on in the country, because after all, we had a big family, and then when we married and went out, you know, on the farm, well, it was just, you know, so lonesome out there.
Because you were there by yourself.
I was there by myself in the daytime. And then when your granddad would come in, at noon or at night, well, but all day long out in the country alone was too much.
What did you do? No radios, huh?
Oh, no, didn't.
A television.
Didn't have a radio or the we didn't have a television.
No soap operas, no.
So,
No soap operas.
so how did you just keep busy? What did you do?
Well, I think I slept most of the time.
That's where you got it, huh?
Yeah, most time. I think I was sleeping a lot.
Well, plus they did a lot more when cooking wasn't quite as convenient.
No, it wasn't anything convenient.
How did you cook? What did you usually have for dinner?
Oh, I really don't remember. Just the usual things.
Which was what?
Sort of like farm people have, meat and bread and potatoes. Maybe cornbread or biscuits and that sort of stuff. That was something else. You didn't just run to the grocery every day. You just pretty much cooked what you had on the farm. People kill their own hogs, you know. Their own had a beef and that sort of thing.
Huh.
So when did Granddaddy come and work at the bank?
Oh, that was about, let me see, 35 years. He was in the bank about 35 years. That's when we left the farm. That's when he started working the bank.
And did he start as a teller?
Started as a teller. Then just moved up. Step by step to his vice president when he died, really.
He was vice president.
How long have you been in this house?
43 years. 44.
So do you plan to sell it and move into an apartment anytime soon?
No. Really, if I sell it, I have to put it into another house or an apartment.
How's it in terms of the estate, wasn't it?
That was the terms of this, your granddaddy's estate.
Was it that if you sold it, you'd have
If
to...
I sold it, I had to put it into another house or into a duplex, I think the will said. That was so that that he would want to be sure I would always have a home. And my grandchildren couldn't come along, you know. Or something.
Put her away and...
Put me away or something like that. The house has to stay here as long as I do.
That's good.
Or,
Hold it just a second.
I think it's been, it's either 43 or 44
Well,
years.
when they painted down the hallway, took something down the hall, I guess took that stair rail down, it said 1926. I believe it was on the plaster. So would that house have been built in 26?
That house was built, maybe, would that have been about right, 7 years or, it was built before this one.
It was.
Uh-huh.
That was the
That
first
was
house
the
and
first
then
house
this one.
built in this block. And then we built ours.
When did you build this one?
I thought it was 43 years ago. How much would that be?
Shoot.
This is 79 and 44 years,
Uh-huh.
which would be what, 33?
What'd you say was on your house?
44, let's see, 4 from 9, 35.
4 from 9 would be 5.
That's what I said, 35 years, wasn't it?
I mean,
1935. What would you say was on your house?
It said 1926, I think, on the wall. I think I may be mistaken, but
that's about right. You said about 7,
I thought it was built about 7 years. I'm not sure before
Yeah.
this house was
that'd be
built.
about right. 7, so it'd be 34. If it was 27 or 26.
I have to go back and look, but it's been here for a long time. Because your daddy, he was about 13 when we moved here. Now, how old? No, he was 50. Be 57 this year.
Yeah, it was...
Well, now what's
57,
13 from 57? He was 12 or 13. 4, 5, 6, 7. That
Susan,
would
you're
make
getting
44.
subtracted too, aren't you?
That would make 44.
I need my little computer.
He was 12 or 13. Which would make 44. Or when, you know, when we moved here.
Where did you live before you lived here?
We lived down in Southborough. We were right across from,
Well, you should be doing this on tape. We're asking you questions.
no, we just lived here in town first. We had an apartment over here.
You lived in Lexington when you first got married?
Uh-huh.
You didn't have bathrooms or anything then?
Oh, yeah, in Lexington you did.
You had bathrooms in the house?
But not
So
down
that
here.
fascinates me. Was there electricity?
Everything in Lexington there was.
But like in
But
the
out in
country,
the country we didn't have.
well now, out in the farm in the country, they built the bathroom, I think, after Mom and Daddy married.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Well, that's
no,
like...
in Lou, we didn't have one down in the country ever.
I can't imagine. See, Susan, I'm sure, we just always had a bathroom.
Sure, I mean, I know
And
that's,
running water in the house,
Yeah.
and electricity, and television,
yeah.
and cars. I can't imagine what it would be without all
We
of that.
didn't have, no, out in the country, you didn't
Did
have
you-
bathrooms.
When you were little, were there cars, or were there horses?
Oh, no, we had horses then, but then,
See, I can't imagine that.
we had a car, Dad got a car when I was about 13. And then you just drove, I was driving a car when I was 13 because, he pretty much let us do what we wanted to. And just as soon as you got big enough, he thought you was big enough to drive, you just drove.
As soon as you
You
reach.
had to have a license then, you know.
Sure.
And I know I started driving when I was 13. But there wasn't very many cars, you know, everybody didn't have cars.
Well, it was different
And it
then.
was different, you know.
The roads you couldn't go fast, cars wouldn't go fast.
No, he had those little Fords, you know, and set up high like this.
Yeah.
I can remember my grandfather's car. He had a wreck in it when I
He
was
used to just
little.
drive out in front of him. I remember, he had his office downtown.
And he just drove in. He
Crossing
never.
back.
That's how he had that wreck.
And he'd just go over there. I remember John saying that. He says, Dr. Arison's gonna get killed some of these days. Said he just gets in the car and drives out when he gets ready to drive out.
Your grandfather was a doctor?
And then he
Was he
parked
really?
across the street from the bank, his office across the street.
It was upstairs,
Upstairs,
over Kimber Foster's lot.
right on there.
You know, probably don't know where
I
that is. It's
know
a
where-
dress shop
yeah,
right across the
okay,
street.
uh-huh.
And it's right.
And,
Well,
he was
maybe
getting old and he just, when he decided to come home, so he just went down and got in the car and
started the car and drove.
just
Well, he
drove.
was. I don't know how old he was, but I don't think he said. Anyway, he just. We were coming to town one day, and of course that was a big occasion, you know. I remember my grandmother's perfume. She wore this perfume, and it just gagged me in the car because you know, you put it on room spot when you come to town. Shine with white gloves and everything. You just come to town. And I was sitting in her lap. I was little enough, you know, to sit in her lap. And Pop just went to pull out the front gate there. You know, it's kind of hard to stay out there.
Yeah,
Like that.
you
And there was this guy, and I guess he was going too fast anyway down that little road, but nevertheless, Pop pulled out, and the guy went off, you know, had to swerve around us and went all over the place. Of course, as a child, it just scared the daylights out of me. I was crying and everything, and he wrecked down there at Miss Lucas's. And you ready to go?
Yeah, but you can keep talking, that's fine.
And, God, it scared me. And Pop, that was it. Nobody had to tell him. He just didn't drive anymore.
Because it was you were endangered at that point. He just
Yeah.
don't slow down, I'm getting tired now. I'm just
It's hot under these lights, isn't it?
getting tired.
You didn't
No,
know
it's not that hot, it's just,
Well, now, what, you said the other house was South Broadway, was on South Broadway? Isn't that down here?
yes. We live down there in the apartment right across from, they have a little vegetable shop down there. You know, you just get some steak.
Those are apartments now, aren't
Well,
they? Are they?
where this house was, it was a two-story house down there.
Is it still there?
Is it really? Isn't that wrong?
So we lived down there, and until we started building on this house.
No, well, why did Dad decide to go to medical school? Do you know? Did you talk him into that?
I didn't talk him into it, I don't know, I just think he always thought that's what he was gonna do. We didn't think about anything else. And all he had to do is walk across the street over here to grade school. All the time he was in grade school, then he went to the college, and all he had to do was go up the street to college, to the graduating college. He went to Vanderbilt.
And he had to leave for that.
Then that's when he left.
Left home.
Yeah, all the way through college before he ever left home.
Glad to get rid of him by that time?
No.
Did you ever think getting married at 16, did most women get
Oh, a
married
lot of
much
people
younger?
did then.
Oh, I mean, people still do. I was just curious as to.
I don't know if they still do or not. But they
Was your
did.
mother upset when you got married that young?
Yes, I think they were. But
That didn't matter.
didn't matter too much. We didn't run off or anything. We just said get married. That was it.
That's fine. And you've been in this house 43 years? You got a lot of stuff in here.
Yes.
What's the favorite thing? What are some of the favorite things you have in here?
Well, I think maybe a chest that would belong to my grandmother.
Which chest?
Which grandmother?
The one, my grandmother Hall. The one by the front door.
Really?
Uh-huh. Was your great-great-grandmother's chest. That and, I don't know. Nothing else to her.
Was it Grandmother Hall with Susie?
No. She
That
was
Dave?
Sarah.
Sarah. Who was Susie in the family? Was that
Davidson, Grandmother Davidson. was
Grandmother
Susan.
Davidson? Because that's the
Oh,
pin
that's
I
it.
have. I have a pin that says Susie.
Well, that was, I don't know, really. I think maybe you were her namesake now.
That was my great-great-grandmother?
No, it is your, yes, that was your great-grandmother.
Great-grandmother's. Oh.
Are they the reason you decided to put Hall in the middle name of
Because my name was Hall.
Where did you get Harold?
Oh, I don't know, I just thought that up. I couldn't think of it. Besides, we had already had 2 Johns in the family, and 3 Jims in the family.
Oh.
So that was real too much, so I had to go on the outside.
Actually, Harold Hall goes pretty well together.
Yeah. So you did the naming, huh?
So I did the name.
What about if it had been a girl?
Oh, I really don't know. I didn't think that far ahead. It's been so long, I don't remember what I thought. About names when you go back that long.
Shit. Well, now what was Christmas a special day when you were a little girl?
Oh, yes.
Well, what was it like? What did you do for Christmas?
Well, we just hung our stockings up and probably got a doll every Christmas besides the fruit and stuff you got in your stockings.
So you didn't give each other presents?
No. Well, we didn't have any place to go get presents. There was a country store maybe when we were real little. Well, all you had to do is go to a country store someplace unless you drove about 25 miles to the city, a big town, I'd say. But back then there was stores every place, you know. And of course we didn't want, well, my dad didn't keep anything like, very much toys and stuff, just all you.
So it's just like that.
Store.
So it's the same every year, basically.
Oh, pretty much the same here. I don't remember what the boys had, maybe guns and that sort of thing.
I see. When was the first car? When did you get your first car?
I think was about, let me see, I think Dad had one about 1916 when he had his first car.
What kind was it?
No, it was earlier than maybe 15 or 16, yeah. It was a Ford touring car. And you let the top all the way back, you know, on the road and gotten all the dust. Roads real dusty, and you went someplace and you get all covered up with dust.
Did you like that?
I don't know, but it was great to have a car.
I bet.
Because then when you had cars, you know, that was something about getting a new car.
So you could go further? Was that
And I
right?
imagine it cost about $500 or some $600, not even more than that.
You imagine.
And you got the sports.
A little more now, huh?
But I'd be a lot more than that now. Even for an old Ford.
Even for the same Ford.
Can you imagine how much that Ford would cost now?
Well, people didn't have a lot of money then. You know, that was a lot of money
That was
to pay for a car.
What about, did you get a radio first or a TV? When did you get your first,
Oh no, we had radios first.
when did you get that one? That?
Oh, I'm sure we moved to town. We couldn't have had one out on the farm.
Because you didn't have electricity?
No, we didn't have electricity. Had lamps. And had an oil stove and a coal-burning cooking stove for the kitchen, that sort of thing.
Well, now what did you all do when you got together without electricity? Did everybody play music or,
Everybody had lights. Oh, they had, you mean when they had parties?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody bring their violin and guitar. And most people had piano.
Didn't you used to play the piano?
Most people did have pianos?
Yes.
Really?
Well, really, right at the time I was grown, everybody had pianos. But when I was little, everybody had organs.
Oh.
And that's
A pump
what I
organ?
learned to
Like
play
a
on.
pump organ?
You learned to play on an organ?
Yeah.
On your dad's organ?
Yes.
Oh.
We had an organ always.
But could you ever read music?
Well, I took music not until I started taking music.
Oh.
And then started taking music out in the country.
So how did you play before you learned to read
I
music?
just played the ear.
And could you play a lot of songs?
Well, sure. Anything that I heard then, but I couldn't do it anymore.
What was your
I
favorite
can't even
song?
play the note now. By reading the notes.
What was your favorite song?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, you must have some. What did you play?
I've even forgotten. I can't remember that long.
They asked Paul what his favorite
Yeah,
piano
now what was
piece
yours?
I
What
wouldn't
was yours 25 years ago?
25 years ago? Maverick.
You couldn't play that on piano.
Sure I can. I did. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I could do that.
No, you could.
Well, maybe you couldn't remember everything. When did you stop playing the piano?
Oh, after I moved here, and then my piano got old, and I got tired of it and just sold it. So I didn't want to play it.
That's why Dad was stone deaf.
That's why Dad was still here, and he never could
Tone
play.
deaf.
He didn't take music. He did everything else, I think.
Yes, I think your child was tone deaf.
Yeah, I
In fact,
think maybe that was it.
he had a 10 ear.
I should have let him have music, shouldn't I?
I don't think it would have helped. It sounded like it was never there to me, listening to him sing. I could be wrong, but you could play, couldn't you? So when did
All girls had music when you're growing up. Everybody took music lessons.
oh yeah?
Refinement.
A lady would come down from Lexington to Stockton Grand, and we'd go up there, once a week to take her a music lesson.
That's interesting, because that's not so much the way it is now.
And that's not the way it is now. There's quite, I don't know if she was too good or not, but anyway, when one would quit giving music, somebody else come along, I need to go take music.
I say, when did you get your first television? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember. Do you?
Well, I remember when we got. I remember where I was living.
When you got yours and when we got ours?
No, when we got ours.
You were in Evansville.
We've
when
only
you had
lived one
yours.
place, that's true.
No, we lived somewhere before.
No, we didn't.
Oh, that's right. You all did.
I really don't remember when we got ours. Hey, it was long.
Well, it must not have been a very big deal.
Well, I don't remember the date. I know it's been a long time because we had a black and white and then we got a color.
But so you didn't watch it very much, huh?
Oh yes, we watched it more then than we do now.
Really?
Well, that was very unusual. And anyway, there wasn't so much going on. We just stayed around here and watched television every night. And everything was new, even Bonanza and all those things. We just sat down and watched everything have to come on.
So you didn't have a favorite show? Or...
Oh yeah, well, Granddad always watched the westerns, So I watched the westerns then.
That's also where
All
you
the
got it.
cowboys and such.
That was Hall's favorite.
That's not saying Hall's favorite too.
Hall done.
As a child.
As a child.
So, you understand you're getting ready to take a trip to Los Angeles?
Yes, if I don't lose my nerve between now and December the 24th.
Well, why would you lose your nerve?
Oh, I'm a big coward. I think I might get tired.
Shoot, no.
You can get tired around here, though, can't you?
Yes, but I can come home and go to bed when I get tired.
Oh, you can in a hotel.
Well, if I'm still around 24th December.
You just
then
might
I'll
be.
come celebrate my Christmas with the rest
And your birthday.
And my
Find out
birthday.
your birthday.
And I want to be sure I have a birthday cake
That's right. That's for you
on,
all.
on December 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And all the things that goes with it.
Uh-huh. What are you used to
I'm
having on
going to
your
be
birthday?
visiting my grandson in California. And he's going to do all those things for me.
What do you want for your birthday this year?
Well, I haven't quite decided on that.
Would you like another doll?
No, I don't think I'll do that. I might pick something. I'll have to think about that. Since it's going to be a special occasion, and I'm going to California, I want something real nice.
But you don't have any idea what it would be.
No, I don't have any idea. I just know it's going to be nice because it'll be the first time I visited this grandson in California. So I know it will be real nice.
That'll be a special.
Well, that's good. Maybe that'll be just enough present in itself, huh?
I don't know.
That's getting off easy. Maybe it will.
Well, did you ever, I always thought it was terrible to have your birthday on the 20th. Did you ever, as a child, feel robbed that your birthday was right at Christmas time?
I don't think I did.
You never did? I always thought that was so important.
Did you get a birthday present?
No, when you were children, we didn't have big birthday parties like kids do now. Your parents would get you something for your birthday, but you didn't have all the other kids come in. Well, weren't that many kids around outside of your own family, really.
Mm-hmm.
But little children didn't have big birthday, parties.
I always thought it was
Like they
too
do.
bad. I would have adopted another date for my birthday. So I can have it twice a year.
When is your birthday?
March. That was kind of.
Mine's in November, and I never did feel wrong.
Now yours was fine, but I always felt sorry for people at Christmas. They had Christmas birthdays. I always thought that was too bad.
You what, Grandmother?
I didn't mind, well, I don't think I ever thought too much of that. Only thing I always felt sorry for other people that had to buy me a birthday present and a Christmas
Oh, so
present.
you got two anyway, huh?
Same time, so I always got two.
That's right.
So, you know, that part of it was nice.
That sounds good.
Took away some of that, feeling that you're getting older every time you have another birthday too coming at Christmas time. You have to think of that.
Shoot, maybe I'll adopt it then. Adopt my birthday.
You're not old.
Now, did you grow those flowers there?
Well, some of them I did. Some of them were given to me.
Oh. They look nice. And that's just a sort of a silver thing?
Silver bowl.
Yeah. Did you get that when you were married?
Oh no, I've had it since then. If I'd had it that long, the silver would have all been off. This has been solid.
Solid. Oh, what other trips are you planning up in the next couple of years?
Well, I'm going to see how this trip turns out.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get back without being broke
Unlikely.
And broken.
and have a good time, then maybe I can think it again.
Don't you think it'll be nice to see a big city? What's the biggest city you've seen so far?
Oh, I've seen most of them. Almost. Oh, New York and
Well, then why is this?
Los Angeles and all cities all around.
Well, this shouldn't be a surprise then, should it?
Oh, no, it's just going to last so long.
You only spent a couple of days before?
For sure. I was always on a trip. Just went through, spent a night or two, and on back.
Oh, yes, honey.
So I have to see the city, huh?
So I think this will be long. If I don't get too homesick this time, then I can come again.
Good.
Well, you probably won't. Somebody will take care of the house. Well, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's it.
Got any advice on how you'd raise your great-grandchild?
Well, no, I'll just leave that to my grandchildren. I've enjoyed my grandchildren. Now I'm going to let my grandchildren take care of the great-grandchildren.
And she can just see them and enjoy them and then give them back.
See them and hand them back.
So there's no bit of advice you'd like to give to Michael Paul Davis, your
No, I don't think so.
great-grandchild?
I'll just let his daddy and his uncles and aunts take care of that.
All right. You no advice on who he should marry?
Someone as lovely as me.
No.
All right.
Just a nice little girl like his mother.
Did you ever think, when you were a girl growing up in that country without electricity, that you'd be on videotape and we've seen it on your own color television?
No, I didn't. I didn't know there was such a thing to stop it.
So now, will anything surprise you anymore?
No, I don't.
Well,
Plenty could, but
Nothing
I think this late in the day, I don't think I'll be looking forward to it.
all right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
Yay, now play
that's
that.
enough.
You get off, Grandmother.
You can get off now, Grandma.
That's all. Kind of worn out.
Now go put it on the color TV so we can see it.
I know how funny it looks.
Okay.
Well, it's terrible to ask anybody when they were a woman, especially when she was born. But if you don't remember my birthday, then I'll tell you it was November the 9th, 1924. And it's been a lot of fun years between then and now. I'm especially aware of it just coming back from my 38th high school reunion and looking at all these good-looking people that still look good. We had a big swinging time, and we had lots of fun with the big band era. We danced to Harry James and Glenn Miller and all the Dorseys and Frank Sinatra. And high school was really fun. You didn't have a steady boyfriend that you couldn't date anybody else, and you really danced with everybody, and there was a stag line. It was really a swinging time. And I'm sorry that my children didn't have the same fun.
You've had a fun life then.
It has been fun. Got a nice big dog here to take care of now since all of my children have flown the coop. But when I was little, I was also lucky because I grew up in my grandmother's house and I had two uncles
and my mother and my aunt to spoil me properly. When I was only 8, I moved to Georgetown, Kentucky. I was born in Williamstown. And my uncle, Fred Harrison, was a state senator. So he thought it would be super if I would get to be a page in the Senate in Kentucky. So I was elected, and at 8 years old, my mother took me to Frankfurt, and we found a room, and I boarded and stayed there all by myself, walked to the Capitol and worked, and then took my dirty clothes and walked to the train station and rode a little one-car dinky, we called it, home to Georgetown, which was like 20 miles away. Spent the weekend and went back to the Capitol and worked for a week. So I did this for 4 years, which was, I was the youngest page that had ever been in the Senate at Kentucky. And in those days, I thought I was making mucho money. I made $21 a week. And then when we had special sessions, I made like $5 a day, which was an awful lot of money back in 1932. Then high school in Georgetown, as I said, was fun because I was a cheerleader and voted the most popular girl and National Honor Society. I really had it all swinging for me. And then I went to college there in Georgetown for a year and a half, and I decided a long time ago I wanted to be a nurse. So from Georgetown College, I went to Duke University and graduated from nursing there.
Did many of your family go to college?
And I was the only granddaughter, and I was the only one in my mother's family that had gone to college. So I felt very fortunate. Then when I was in high school, I used to play a lot of tennis. It so happened that the playground director was a very good-looking college boy that marked off the clay courts and ran the games and that sort of thing. And at the tender age of 16, I guess I got a tremendous crush on that boy. And it turned out that he went off to college and became a doctor. And then when I graduated from nursing, we sort of got together again. And it turned out to be your dad. So from there, we were married and went to Memphis where he was in service.
Where were you married?
We were married in Williamstown. And we're married in Williamstown rather than Georgetown because my grandfather, who was like 78 at the time, I guess, decided he wasn't going to any place else to the wedding. So we had it, the church was across the street from my grandmother's house, so that's where we were married. And Papa got to come. So then we went from Memphis to Baltimore, and I worked until my first son was born. And it so happened he was born on his grandfather's about 79th birthday, which was sort of a special treat for his great-grandfather. Then when your father changed or finished up his residency, we were looking for a place to come, and Evansville, Indiana was looking for a good-looking young OB fella. So that's where we came and made our home. I did forget, we went to Cleveland, and that's where our second son was born, Tom. And then Susan and Andy were born in Evansville. And we had lots of fun here raising you all, and probably the fact that I got interested in children's theater played a big part in one son's life, because he was in some of the plays that the traveling children's theater groups would present. And then I guess he did a special radio show. You probably heard of that.
Oh, yeah?
Jerry and Hall, Poems with Jerry and Hall.
Let's Write.
Let's Write with Jerry and Hall. That's when you were in the 4th grade, and that was taped and broadcast to all the grade schools in Evansville. Then, I guess after children's theater, I spent most of my time introducing you all to tennis and golf and swimming because we joined the country club then. And from then on, you all sort of took it from there. And I remember trying to plan a family vacation was very difficult because you all were interested, you were into everything. So one time we went west, and your dad was a big history buff, and we went to every canyon in the west there was, and I remember at Yellowstone, we had all the nature walks, and after, I guess we went to Salt Lake City, and we had one weekend there, and I had a load of clothes for 4 kids and myself and your dad, and I was stumbling down the steps to go to the washateria and nearly broke my leg. It really hurt it. And so I didn't know if I could walk. Well, luckily it didn't hurt anything badly. But one son came up to me and he said, "Hey, Mom," he said, "do you think you could fake it so we won't have any more nature walks?" And I said, "Well, we'll try." Get the phone.
Sure.
You got that? Hello? You may? Just a minute. That's for you.
Who is that?
Who is that? He says. All right, Donna Sharon in Nashville.
Oh, hold on.
He's taping me on videotape. That's why. That's why the big. Right. He brought his stuff from L.A. So here it comes.
Okay, you want to take 5?
Yeah.
What's your schedule like? Oh, great. Oh, okay. Because I'm gonna try to drive back through if I can, and it looks like I may go in order to get back to Birmingham. I may have to go through Nashville. In any case. Yeah, because I flew through Birmingham to see my brother who's down there. The one in Alabama, Birmingham, England, right? In Michigan. Uh-huh. Well, I may just check that down, but, well, yeah, we went through Birmingham, and I flew there, and we drove up through Nashville, and I didn't, we got by it on 65, and it killed me that I didn't realize we were going to do that, or I probably would have, bopped in on the way up. Just sort of, I'm just taking a week off because the families are really not going to get together for Christmas, so we decided to do Labor Day. Yes, and right, yeah, it was the Davidsons too. And it was my little brother's 10th high school reunion or something, so they were going to be here, so I decided. Yeah, so my sister and I just flew in from the west and made it everybody. I'm still struggling. I've had, let's see, yeah, well, we're still performing all the time. We've done a lot of places. We played the Comedy Store a few times, and a guy saw me there, and he ended up using me in a pilot, which was fun. Yeah, but I think the pilot's been around long enough to know that it's probably not going to be picked up. It was all right. It was okay. They could have done better on the pilot. They really didn't know what they were doing when they went in. But the promise was clear, so. Oh, it was one that dealt with improv. That's why so it sort of made sense for it. Where this strange premise would involve 4 people who all did improv. And we did strange stuff. No, just me, but it would have been fun. We still had to go on audition. Pardon? Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. No, but did you know about the one in between? The one in between? Schumann and I wrote a comedy and we sold that. That was real nice. And then I wrote a little one after that and started on 2 since then for some other guy. Neither of which I finished. So I'm now back to my own stuff. So that's how that's going. Yeah. Well, it was a long period when there was no interest, and now there's renewed interest, so who knows? But, yeah, it would be great. Well, yeah. No. Yes, yes, it totally is amazing. Exactly the skin of our teeth. My teeth, anyway. How are you guys doing? Yeah, well, yeah. And you and Jason had an addition to the family, I read. Yeah, yes, what I read. Did you pick up a third member there? Didn't I get a notice in the mail? Yes, well. You can just put a menorah in the window, it's the same thing. Yeah. Well, that's hard to... The courtship? Right. Well, that's good. Wonderful. Well, I still think the third time's a charm there, Sheridan. Yeah. Yes, I know. So you still got one left. Yes, keep it in mind. Yeah, right, at 50 maybe. At 50 maybe. You're kidding. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I did miss that one. October the 1st. Yes, big 3-0. Yeah, see, we're the same age. Oh, that's true. You were older. You were always older. That's true. I'm in my 20s. You're... Yeah. Well, I'm working on it. I'm thinking a lot harder about it lately. Probably the impending decade, watermark there. Yeah. I haven't. Yes, well, I'm sorry to hear you gave that up, but you are older. You are older. Right. Well, don't your travels ever take you out to the far west? Uh-huh. Oh, what a drive. Well, I didn't realize times were hard. Of course, in the music business, that's true. It's dying. The people, the companies on the West Coast are just laying people off literally by the hundred. I'll bet. Donna, that's wonderful. Donna, that's great. That's good. Right. Yes. Don't ask him for a recommendation or something. Oh, I'll give you one. Well, is your hair still curly? Are you still in perm? Oh. Yeah, I can remember when I tried to straighten my hair as a kid, if I remember that. Yes, I did. I was trying to figure out, where do you live on there? No. Yeah, where there's a Davidson Hall, I'd like to point out. That's where I destroyed the hood of your car, right down on that street. That's right. It became. Yeah, that's. Well. Yeah. Right. Oh. Great. Right. Right. Well, then, I nail you down, Donna, so be careful, Yeah, it's a shame to give it to somebody else, isn't it? Yeah, oh yeah. It doesn't kill me as much to pay rent because I'm not paying very much. Never mind. Let's see, what do I feel like $120, I think. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Yeah. I try to ingratiate myself all the time. Cover your groceries? Sure. Yes, that they are. In fact, they've cloned themselves and they've doubled and everything. It's very strange. It is. I had to cut off the top of the big one, and it's now the top is now 6 feet tall. It's amazing. I do? Which coat? I probably do. I probably do. Oh, Christ, and I didn't do it? Oh, Christ, I can't. Oh, no. Are you sure you did? Are you sure you did? I remember the coat, but I wasn't sure that you... Yeah, but did you take it? I remember. But did you for sure buy it? Oh, I'll be damned. If I remember that's right, because I ended up putting it on my charge card so you could, so I could get your cash. Right, which we did. That was fun. Well, I'm gonna go by there as soon as I get back. Oh, she might. Listen, I leave my own clothes like that all over. I can't believe it. Oh, God, why didn't you tell me? Did you totally forget? Oh, Donna, I'm really sorry. I can't believe it. It's conceivable, but I don't think so. I'm sure I would have remembered. Oh, you gotta come back over and pick it up, that's all. Yeah. Oh, it would be fun to know a lot more places now, too. Yeah. Oh, I hope she had a miserable time. I hope she had a miserable time. Right, maybe she'll catch like some disease. Right. It's like in Rosemary's Baby where the guy was blind. It's competing with John Cassavetes. No. No. I'll see it then. I'll see it then. What? Great. How did you land that? Because that's out here. They did all that out here, I think. Yeah, that silver tape. Where is that stuff? Oh, here, sit down. I'll find it. It's right here. I just used it. Just used it.
Must be over there.
Now, you're the only one left because everybody else took off. Andy's gone and Susan's gone. And, but let's pick you up where you dropped off, where you stopped, which is about after you taught us all about the trips, about Dad going on trips, and getting about out of the nature walk. Was that me that did that?
That was you. You said, gee, Mom, I'll pay you if you fake it. And I told your dad that one of the children had asked me to fake my injury so he wouldn't have to do any more nature walks. And he couldn't believe anybody would do that. He said, who did it? Who said that? And that was you.
Did you tell him it was me?
I think so.
Oh, you turned me in.
Yeah. And then remember the World's Fair, and we sort of turned you and Tom loose, and you all got on the subway and went on into New York, and that was when all the muggings were going on in the subway. And if we'd known it, we would have died. But we didn't know it. But that was a fun excursion, too.
Yeah. Well, now where did you get your blue eyes is what I want to know.
They came from the Harrisons and the Pettits, because my grandfather, Pettit, had blue eyes, and I guess my grandmother was the only brunette, had only brown eyes in her family, and she never did have a brown-eyed child. They all had blue eyes.
Well, now, also, that's funny because there must be some blue eyes in Dad's family somewhere.
Well, your grandmother has blue eyes.
Oh, of course. Because,
He didn't have blue eyes.
right. And, of course, you, he had brown eyes and black hair, and every one of your children had either blue or green eyes.
Mm-hmm. And my mother's were sort of hazel. They were as close to a brown eye as my grandmother could get. But she never did get any brown-eyed children.
Or
But
grandchildren.
she would be happy to have her great-grand, to know that her great-great-grandson has brown eyes, which he does.
Yeah, which he does.
That's right.
But isn't it odd that all of your children had your blue eyes?
Well, it takes two to tango, you know, so they can't all be mine. All my genes.
I see. Well, Sonny, you had basically lived a pretty happy life, didn't you?
Yes. Really happy.
Starting with high school?
Starting with, really, as I said, when I was 8 years old. That was pretty special, getting to work at the Capitol.
Uh-huh.
And one of the clippings in the paper said that she may be young, but she's no novice. Because I'd been there for 4 years.
By the age 12, you mean?
Right. So I sort of enjoyed that bit. It was a lot easier being 12 years old going back and forth than it was being 8 years old and staying away from home by yourself with other people.
Uh-huh. So you kept up with the Harrisons part of the family?
Pretty much so. They all were still around Williamstown. And my grandmother lived in Lexington, and I used to visit her. And I remember one time that she promised to buy me a bicycle if I wouldn't see a movie for a year. And I tried so hard not to go to a movie, and I think I went 6 months without going to see a movie, determined to get that bicycle. But I decided finally it wasn't worth it. So I didn't get my bicycle.
Remember what movie you broke it for?
No, I don't.
That's funny. Who was your favorite in those days?
Oh, I love Ginger Rogers was my favorite.
Oh.
Of course, Clark Gable was no slouch.
Yes.
But I loved the musicals. And of course, I got a taste of the minstrels because my stepdad was an old minstrel fella and he was the minstrel man, and even when the minstrels closed, they still would have one each year in Lexington. So he would perform. Do you remember us all coming from Emmonsville to go see him in his last performance? Because finally they stopped having even minstrels in Lexington, because blackface comedians were out.
And he performed whiteface in that one, didn't he?
He was an in-man. No, he was always blackface. In fact, very few pictures I have of him that he isn't blackface.
Okay, he's an end man? What is that?
That means that, you know, there's a Mr. Interlocutor that's sort of the master of ceremonies, and then there were two in-men that told the jokes and did the funny routines.
And I believe he closed that show. So he must have been pretty high on the list.
He had played with, even as what was he, 50 or 60, he could still remember every town that he ever played and every hotel that he played in and every town.
which I thought was unusual, to remember the hotels and where they stayed and what theater they played. And that covered not the West Coast, but an awful lot of the Midwest.
Did he ever play Evansville?
Yes, and he knew what hotel he stayed in, and that it was a good show town. He could tell you if it was a good town or a bad town.
That's funny.
Or showbiz.
And he appeared on a bill with Benny once, right? With Jack Benny?
No, but I think he had corresponded with him. And he knew Johnny Mac Brown, who was a football player and then became a cowboy star.
Western Star, yeah.
And he told a funny story about him because he said that no matter what season it was, he always wore long underwear.
Johnny Mac Brown?
Johnny Mac Brown.
That's pretty funny. He never appeared on a bill with Jack Benny? I thought he did.
No. Well, I don't know. They might have way back, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, I thought I saw a poster with both their names on it.
Could have been.
Playbill.
Could have been.
So, and what about, so you like Ginger Rogers and you kept up dancing, right?
That's right. I used to put on my mother's clothes and high heel shoes and just imagine I was Ginger twirling around. And the boy across the street was Fred Astaire, and we used to just dance in the front yard and have a ball.
Uh-huh. Well, even you kept dancing when you were married too, right?
Oh, your dad and I loved to dance. And at one time we belonged to 2 dance clubs in Evansville and went to every charity ball and just about every dance that was in town. We loved to dance.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And I think it's passed on to you all too, because most everybody likes music. Everybody took piano lessons and sang in the glee club. So, you all didn't have as much fun dancing as we did because you you didn't dance together. It was a different style.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming back now. The disco will bring you all together.
Disco, right, maybe so.
Well, it's as close to ballroom dancing as we've seen since the 40s.
Uh-huh. Would you say that you had sort of the happy end of the family? You and Cece and all those people?
We had a good time because one reason was because I think there were only 2 grandchildren out of 6 children, only produced 2 children. So that meant that we were taken by all our uncles and aunts and visited, and every place we saw an awful lot of things with our uncles and aunts that we didn't get to go with our parents.
That's true, but it seems like that you were sort of the outgoing part of the family, and that Dad's side was kind of more withdrawn. I mean, more inclusive, sort of more exclusive.
Well, their family wasn't as close as mine. I don't think they ever had as much fun, maybe. But then, at least I wasn't aware of it. I'm sure they were close too, but they were not like every Sunday everybody had dinner together and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Have we got company? Come in. Yeah.
Yeah, Susan. Susan, what would you like to say to Mom?
You're just in time for the bedside story.
The bedside story, I haven't missed it.
Yes, yes.
How would you say that Mom had sort of had the fun end of the family, would you say?
The fun end of the
Yeah. What would you say?
He means, I think he means my mother and my aunt. We saw more of them.
Oh.
Which was one reason, and they had such a good time and told so many wild tales about their young days, which was fun.
Well, their family seemed closer, and they didn't have, grandmother had stepbrothers and sisters, and I think that kind of, to me, isolates everything a little bit. But I just think, look at Cece, who got married again at 74. I think that's, or 72, I think that's terrific. I think it's a good presence for all of us.
And Andy said he was very upset because she eloped, because he thought it was sort of neat, or would have been neat to go to his grandmother's wedding.
That would have been fun. Walked her down the aisle.
It would have been fun.
Well, you heard all their wild tales, and the one there was always a bad boy, and Howard was the bad boy. And when his daddy wouldn't let him have the car, my mother tells a story that he took tacks and put all up and down the driveway, so that when Papa backed the car out, he'd have 4 flat tires. And he would have had, except a neighbor happened to be walking up the driveway and saw all the tacks.
And warned him.
Needless to say, he was grounded for a while.
I'll bet. That was Howard the oldest, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
But he also told me that that my mother was an excellent dancer too. So
Oh, we didn't know that.
that's right.
That's why we all got our happy feet.
And one time, remember, Dad took us on Mother's Day. We went to some place where they had a band, and your dad danced with you and Mother and me. We had a good time.
I
Remember
him
going
dancing.
down? You don't remember dancing?
I don't remember dancing with Cece.
Yeah, he did.
Where was this? Was this in Georgetown?
No, it was in Evansville, down in that sort of Rathskeller. The girl that was sort of like Carol Channing, I've forgotten what her name was, performed.
I may not have been with you.
Yes, you were, I think.
I went dancing with Dad so many times, I kind of forget which time. But I don't ever remember seeing Cece dance.
She could whirl around.
And I can never imagine grandmother dancing, but Cece I can imagine it.
I don't think grandmother ever did dance. I don't know about that, but...
Oh, maybe in the Southern Baptist.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Playing with blackout switch, darkening, moving around, moving around. Picture clear, picture clear. Picture all clear on monitor. No difference at all. What?
And, well, we were in Cleveland, and the people there are different than Southern people. They were all raised in the North, and they were not as warm and friendly. And Evansville is a very warm, friendly town. It's easy to make friends.
And keep.
And don't you think we've said it all?
Oh, not at all.
Oh,
What would you say, if you've isolated probably the happiest times of your life, what would they be? You know what they are?
I really don't know if I could say which one was the happiest, because it's been great raising children. I had 31 years of a very happy marriage.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And I enjoyed being the wife of a doctor, and especially since medicine was my field too. And it's been fun being active in this community and working on different projects. I've loved the follies that we did with the Junior League.
Mm-hmm.
And I've loved playing golf, which your dad introduced me to, because he told me that if I was going to vacation with him or see him, that I would have to learn to play golf too.
When was that?
When we first started Rolling Hills Country Club, and I started golf, you must have been, Andy was, I think, just 2 years old, so that was about 20 years ago.
How come you didn't just join the one that already existed?
Well, it was on the other side of town, and your dad just wasn't interested in it. It was an older club, and he felt like that you were never a member. You were always sort of a guest. So he wasn't interested in joining.
And Rolling Hills is still prospering here now, right?
That's right. A new big building.
And what about your golfing? Are you still a member of Rolling Hills?
Yes. We usually play there every Tuesday.
What new building?
In my golf, I have just retired as president of the Indiana Women's Golf Association, which was no small task and quite an honor. I didn't say I was the best golfer.
But didn't you win your flight?
I could run a good tournament.
Didn't you also win a couple of flights?
I won one, yes.
First flight?
Oh, no. Well, that was the first flight when it was at Evansville. I mean, when it was at Rolling Hills. But I struggle now. But I won the club championship at Rolling Hills like 4 times.
Yeah.
So I practiced hard.
That's good. There were good golfers out there, too. Remember the time I got a par on hole number 2? Last par?
The way, you know. This is not exactly the way I'd planned to spend my first year celebration.
What'd you plan to do?
Well, if my knee hadn't conked out, Erica and I would have been on a cruise to Nassau and Bermuda this very minute.
number 12, and there are only, in the 20 years at Rolling Hills, there have only been 3 people that have had double eagles, and none on 12. He's the only one that's ever done it.
What's the par on 12?
It's a par 5, but it's 560 some odd yards.
So do you put it in with an iron?
I think he used a wood for his second shot.
Incredible.
It was incredible. It's more rare than having a hole-in-one. There are many, many people that have hole-in-ones, but very few that have double eagles.
Uh-huh. And what else out there? Now, come on, you're running down your happiest moments here. You can think of something besides golf. What
Well,
else?
probably one of the most fun things we did was we had, your dad and I were chairman of the 20th anniversary at Rolling Hills, and that was, I guess, like 3 years ago, in which we planned the party. And they blew up big pictures of it under construction and cutting the ribbon, and your dad was the first one to tee off on the first hole. And then we were there, we watched the swimming pool being built, and I remember they had a great big ditch, and it was the 4th of July, and Hall was always one to be running around and not watching where he was going, and he fell in the ditch. It was about 4 feet deep and 5 feet wide. Wondered you didn't break your neck. And then we were happy to see that tennis became popular again. So we started playing tennis in the last few years, which has been fun again, since that's where we met, on a tennis court.
You and Dad met on a tennis court?
I told you, he was the supervisor of the playground. And when you were little, visiting your grandmother, you went over and played box hockey, and I don't think you ever played tennis, but it was available.
Mm-hmm.
You play an awful mean game of tennis, you know that.
No, an awful game.
He's got super form.
Effective, though, wouldn't you say?
But I remember you and Andy beat Margaret Clark and myself, and we still haven't figured that out.
That's right, and I believe we beat, who beat Tom and Dad? Who was it?
Yes, and
Tom
cried.
went berserk.
Threw his racket in the...
Did he? I can't remember, but it wasn't that long ago.
He still likes to win.
That's true, and because when you get beat with somebody who's got my form, you can't accept it
When he's
at all.
wearing house shoes and brown
That's right.
socks.
I don't know, he was wearing just tennis socks, I think.
Yes, he went crazy over that one. He did indeed. Well, so, what would, if you were giving advice to new mothers, what would you say?
Enjoy your children.
Don't have any.
No, I wouldn't say that. Children are really super.
Why?
Well, because it's a part of you that will live on, and it keeps you young, and it keeps you active, and you get to redo all the things that you enjoy doing. And life wouldn't be the same without going to the PTA. That thing is going to, it's popping.
Explode. Well, let it pop. So, children, what about keeping a marriage together for 31 years? What would you say about that?
Well, it's a give and take proposition, and you have to be very understanding and adjust.
And very giving.
Yeah. But it's worth it. Yes, it's worth it. Omar's going to shake hands and perform. Shake hands. You're a California dog, so you better show off. And you're supposed to put your face to the camera, not your back. Isn't that right?
Omar, look this way.
Say hi, Hall. Say, let's wind it up, Hall.
Let's see, now are the times you think are particularly fun, huh?
Shoot, all their times were fun.
I can think of hard times. And that was when we moved in this house brand new and it didn't have any grass on it. And you boys, you're building a house next door, and that was in your cowboy boot days.
Mm-hmm.
And it was muddy and terrible, and you came running into the house and you lost a boot in the mud over there. And trying to take a big long stick and get the boot out of the mud without wading up this deep yourself was a chore.
Who did that? Who finally got that out?
I did.
And see, we all went to Hebron. We all walked to school, right?
You walked to school and came home occasionally for lunch, and usually brought somebody home with you for lunch.
and found recipes on the
Ate bologna. John Watson always said all we ever ate over here was bologna.
fried bologna.
That's right.
Clark Anderson never complained though.
Oh, and finding recipes, snickerdoodle recipes.
Oh yeah.
I still have all snickerdoodle recipes.
Yes, have you ever seen that since?
I still have it, written in your little 4th grade handwriting.
Well, I think I found that though. I don't think I wrote that down.
No, you did write that, because somebody brought one to school and you got the recipe. It's your handwriting, because I could read it. And then after the 4th grade, you changed your script.
After the 4th grade?
Mm-hmm.
I started writing.
Seriously, you changed after the 4th grade?
That's what your teacher told me. She said that after making great big A, B's, and C's through the first 3 grades, you get to the 4th grade, and then you try to write as small as you can.
Everybody, or are you talking about it?
She said most everybody did.
That's when they start writing.
Right.
And so
I
you're
did
tired of writing big, and you write a little bitty.
That's fine.
And now we can't read your writing at all.
There's
Right.
some fun things. I remember you in a few car wrecks, and I remember coming home one night.
On that light bulb, it's no longer there.
Yes, I do. I'm gonna send it back to Judy. How many beers?
14. Let me count. Let's see. We were drinking pictures at the H-Men, so I just got to remember.
Oh, you drank at the meeting.
Yeah, we usually drink during the H-Men's meeting. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I probably drink 12 beers tonight.
Only 12?
Yeah, only 12. That's why are you so drunk? How many of you drank?
I don't know.
Since,
6 maybe. Is 12 allowed, or do you usually have more?
No, I usually consume mass quantities and become a conehead. And do, 48,000 beers at once. Right on water? It all depends.
And what?
On the H-Men's meetings.
Happens at the H-Men's meeting?
We discuss athletic business. I take the notes being the secretary of the club.
Yeah.
You want me to read you the minutes or something?
How can you take the minutes and still drink?
Well, you don't have to take the minutes every second of the time. You can still drink during pauses.
Uh-huh.
Sure good looking, aren't
Uh-huh. That was an elected post?
they? They voted for me.
Right.
There's only probably 10 people in the H-Men's Club.
Only 10? Is that right?
Well, there's probably no more than 20 members, no more than 10 active members, 10, 11, 12.
Well, how do they raise all that money then?
Well, the softball tournament raised some money because Bob Winchell sponsored, put out a bunch of money so we cover the overhead. H-Men's doesn't make that much money, doesn't donate that much money.
Well, what's the purpose of the club? I thought that's what it was.
Well, the purpose is to donate money to the athletic fund.
Then you said that, yeah.
Nobody's giving us any money, so we can't donate any money without, no members, no, nothing.
Are there dues?
Apathetic. Yeah, it's
I thought they
$5
gave-
per member per year.
I thought they gave the school football stuff though.
Well, we donated some money that we made from our softball tournament. But without that, we wouldn't have made any money the entire year.
I thought you said they bought like total helmets or something.
We gave them $500.
Made that from the softball tournament?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Should've
great.
made more than that.
Why?
Our expenses were much more than $500.
With the expenses?
We'd have to talk to Bob Winchell for the exact sum, but much more than $500.
And what did you do? Didn't you just rent a field?
No, we had to rent a tent and buy hamburgers and beer and buns and a lot of things, pay the umpires.
And did it make a lot of money? What was the gross?
$500.
You made 500?
Well, we brought in about 15. No, we brought in about 12, but we spent about 18 or so.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't that much. Ended up making $500.
So, you sure you're not bombed?
I just might be this evening.
Well,
Got
that's
the
a lot.
shirt from my brother. So he didn't give me a present.
Did you think it was actually in the mail?
Good color, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes are red.
Mm-hmm. So what are you doing with yourself? You gonna get together the stuff about business?
No trouble at all.
Omar?
I
God.
remember my kid.
Huh?
So I'll be in my own shop, hopefully within a year. It's very easy to borrow the money to get people to lend it to me.
How?
Well, I've already got fairly well the budget and everything, how much I'm going to spend, how much it's going to cost is. I've got it down on some pieces of paper that nobody else can find, and I've already figured out my, that I've seen the budgets and how much it's going to cost. I know I can run a shop for a year or so without much trouble, and just estimate it for a few more years. And it's a little easier to raise a little more money than starting out slim and trim.
I don't know what that means.
That's better be overcapitalized than undercapitalized.